Hello everyone, my name is Tuli Zigalala and welcome to episode 8 of Good Vibes with Tuli.
You Know Nicole Said, a podcast. Hi guys, welcome to episode 8 of my podcast, You Know Nicole Said, season 1. This week's episode is about friendships. Now, friends are the family that you choose for yourself pretty much, and they're the people who, if you pick right, can keep you grounded and really happy. Adulting tends to bring a lot of pressure into friendships and put a strain on a lot of our relationships because everyone is so caught up in their own lives and busy being them basically. So it's really easy to lose track of each other. So here's some types of friends that I believe you definitely want to keep around you, especially for the long run. The first type of friend is the truth teller. You really can't beat a friend who's going to be completely honest with you, whether it's telling you that a new pair of jeans doesn't suit you, or telling you that they really don't like the person that you went on a date with, or telling you that a business idea that you're working on is really not going to work out. You will need the perspective of someone who's prepared to give you the brutal truth that maybe you're not ready to admit it to yourself, and maybe you don't want to hear it. But these are the people who, no matter what, are always going to tell you the truth. Now, sometimes you may not be willing to hear it, and maybe uncensored truth isn't really welcome. Maybe it's not what you want to hear at the time, because often brutal honesty hurts. A lot of times it really does hurt. You may not want to hear it, but it's probably something that you need to know. So once you realize that behind the blunt, outspoken nature of your truth-telling friend, they're actually coming from an area of best intentions, because for someone to be brutally honest with you and about something that maybe is really touching to you, these are people who genuinely usually have a very good intention behind it all. And they're usually coming from a place of love and a place of wanting the best for you. So these are definitely the people that you want to keep around you. But more often than not, we don't like being around them because of the deep honesty that they have. But they are definitely necessary people to have in our lives. The second type of friend is the nurturer. Now, the nurturer becomes the perfect friend to have on your side, especially when you're in the middle of a crisis. They always know what to do, whether it's a best flu medicine that they can find at home, whether it's being your shoulder when you need them, when you're down and hurting. They're there for you. That is who the nurturer is. They're strong, they're wise, and they have the presence that is so comforting. You cannot do without, especially in time of need. However, the hang up with a friend like this is that sometimes you start to feel like they're mothering you, and you start to feel a bit smothered by all of it, because you've already got this kind of attention and comfort from your mom. You really don't want to get it from a friend as well. So it can feel like maybe you cross a few boundaries when you get too close and you start to rely on them a bit much, because then they start to feel like maybe they should have a say in the decisions you're making so that you don't hurt. But again, with this type of friend, all of these emotions are coming from a place of love, and it's genuine kindness in their nature that drives them to be that kind of person to you. To maintain a healthy relationship with someone like this, try not to let them practically interfere with your self-esteem, and make sure that you offer to take care of them once in a while. Balance it out. You should not always be the taker in this kind of relationship. You should also be a giver. You should actively try to find out how you can give to them and actively be there for them when they also need nurturing, because odds are someone who's a heavy nurturer is someone who needs heavy nurturing as well. The third type of friend is the uplifter. Now, this person's favorite word is literally yes. The uplifter is an optimist who's going to support you no matter what, as long as that's what's going to make you happy. Now, the uplifter is, in other words, your hype man. I feel like that's the general name that we go with an uplifter. And the best uplifters I've noticed are usually guys. I don't know what it is, because guys are really good at hyping you up and telling you you're going to be fine, and just pulling out all these pluses to you in a way that ladies maybe we do in a different way. So most guys have an uplifter in their team. Girls, we do too, but maybe to a lesser extent. They're usually a combination of either the nurturer and an uplifter, and maybe sometimes the uplifting kind of becomes condescending amongst us females, but we also do have people like this in our team. If you look amongst your circle of friends, you will find someone who genuinely is an uplifter, especially when you're going through times of self-doubt. There's nothing, literally nothing, like having having a truly positive friend around you to help you see even the smallest of silver linings, even if it's something as small as, well, I hate the fact that I had to take my dog to the dip today and stuff. They're the type of person who'd be like, wait, okay, yeah, but then it means you have less ticks around, right? And it means you can cuddle your dog now, right? You know, they're that kind of person. But you should, again, be careful not to let their constant cheerfulness annoy you, because that's what can happen with someone who's a constant optimist. You may start to resent them for always being happy, especially if you're going through a tough time and you need them to uplift you, but their constant happiness and joy and optimism sometimes may rub you wrong because you're not feeling that way at the time and you cannot relate to how they're feeling. So you would then need to find a balance again in this kind of situation. Either match their energy or just take a deep breath and just realize that your friend is only trying to help you stay positive before you get way too annoyed to ever want to spend time with them again. But still, having an uplifter in your team is something you definitely want. The fourth friend now is the partier. Yes, now the partier comes in the form of a wingman now. The uplifter is your hype man. Now with your partier, this is your wingman who is always up for anything. Spontaneity is their nature. It's literally their middle name. They're the life and soul of any party. There's no such thing as an adventure that's too big or a plan that's too last minute. They're always up for maybe a crazy weekend or up for a random blind date, especially if that's what you're into. And the partier is someone who's going to listen and laugh with you whilst challenging you to abandon your rules and just break your boundaries, push your limits, and just let loose and enjoy life just a little bit. That's what the partier is. They're the kind of friend that you need when you just want to go out and forget about all the cares in the world and all your worries and just let loose. You really need a person like this on your team. However, again, as with every other friend, there is a negative side. Responsibility and organizations are things that probably don't come naturally to a person like this. So maybe going to the person in your circle who you identify as your wingman might not be the best person to go to for maybe stuff like career advice or business advice. Because of their spontaneous nature, they're probably of the mind to be like, you know what will be will be. Try it. If it fails, it fails. And that sometimes can be a problem. But again, you know, with this person, like I said, with everyone else, it's always coming from a place of love. And lastly, there is the unlikely friend. The unlikely friend is the person who adds to your life by being so different to you. Whether you and your friend are different in terms of relationships, whether it's careers, whether it's values, whether it's even humor or even interests, it can be so many things that are completely different about you that on paper, everyone would say, no, this friendship really doesn't make sense. I mean, like, what are you guys even doing? It doesn't make sense at all. This is the kind of variety that helps to add richness to your life. And some may say it might feel like you have nothing to talk about, but that in fact means you have far more to talk about and a lot more to learn from this person while you're being reminded that different perspectives and points of view exist. Now, finding a friend who is so different from you can be extremely rewarding because it challenges you to grow and it helps you become a different person than you ever were before. And it also helps you identify so many things about your character that you didn't know before. Because the thing about people who share the same interests with you, share the same lifestyle, is that they're probably not going to notice when something changes in your life. Whereas with someone who's completely different from you, they're able to analyze different aspects about your life and able to tell you that, you know what, this maybe might not be a good idea. And they're usually people who surprisingly give you the best advice you'd ever get, even from someone who you generally qualify as your best friend. So at the end of the day, these 5 different types of friends are really important in your life because they add balance, they add variety, and genuinely they add to your joy. Ultimately, I mean, the whole point of this life thing is for us to enjoy. The whole point of us doing what we do, getting up every single day and trying to get by, is so that at least we live a life that we're going to enjoy. And friends play such a big role in this. They're really, really important to you actually living a life that you're happy about. Also, out of these 5 friends, you also need to identify what kind of friend you are to the people in your circle. Find out and you'll be surprised to see how well you fit into your circle and why you're such an important person in another person's life. Remember, it's not just about what other people can do for you, it's also ultimately about what you can do for them.